or we were waiting to find out what TK's sentence was going to be from the jury. So we're actually going to go to the hearing that took place post-trial, and we're going to see what plays out in the sentencing here, what both sides have to say, the prosecution and the defense, about how he should be sentenced. We're going to hear a little bit of his background, and surprisingly, we're actually going to hear testimony from TK's sister. What? And then we'll react and see what Judge Boyd hands out here as his sentence. Absolutely crazy. Y'all check it out. This is going to be interesting. Shout out to Judge Boyd too. Absolutely amazing judge. Y'all go subscribe to her YouTube channel.
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll make sure you speak in the microphone so members of the jury can hear. And then there's a clip on for the court reporter. Oh, if you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Kayla Beverly. My last name is Beverly.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Beverly. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm well, thank you. How old are you?
27.
And do you know Tamor McIntyre?
Yes, sir.
How do you know him?
That's my brother.
There it is. That's
your
his sister.
Older brother, younger brother?
Younger.
How many years separate you two?
A year and a half to 2 years. It depends on when our birthday falls.
Okay. I want to ask you a little bit about your childhood and Tamor's. Could you tell us a little bit about your early childhood?
We were taken from our mom by CPS. And
Dang.
we had to live in foster homes and bounced around a lot.
How old
That's
were
sad.
you when you were taken from your mother?
I believe I was 5.
5. So Tamor would have been how old?
Well, I believe that Tamar was 5 and I was about 7.
Okay, gotcha. Before that, did both your parents live in the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that stop at some point? You said just you were taken from your mom.
Yes, my dad was incarcerated for domestic violence against my mom.
Okay. Do you know anything about that incident? Do you remember it?
I remember seeing my mom after, like, injured.
Tell us about that. Tell us
I just remember seeing our mom afterwards. She was injured really bad after she was hospitalized. Just stuff like that.
Was Tamor around for that?
Yes, sir.
And you said your father was incarcerated. Do you know if he went to prison for it?
Yes.
Okay. And so after he went to prison, did you all stay with your mother for some period of time, or did CPS get involved immediately?
For some time, maybe a couple of years, 1 or 2 years or something like that.
Just living with your mama?
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
We moved around a lot, kind of. I think she was trying to find stability, but didn't have a lot of help.
Okay.
That's
So,
sad, man.
You
Happens a
mentioned
lot.
that eventually Child Protective Services got involved.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us more about that? What happened there?
One day they came and they took us from our mom, and we fought with them and cried, and sorry. Then they put us in an orphanage.
Okay. And you said that this was a couple
Oh,
years
that's so
after
sad.
your
Dang.
dad was locked up.
Help her out, Judge Boyd.
If you need a moment, that's okay.
Thank you.
So how old do you think you were when you went to the orphanage?
I think Tamar was 5 and I was about 7. That's when they took us from our mom.
When they took you from your mom? Okay. And was that orphanage in Texas, or was that someplace else?
It was in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Do you remember the name of the orphanage?
Child Haven.
Child Haven?
Yes, sir.
And describe to the jury what Child Haven was like.
It was like it was buildings, like different buildings in a property that was gated, and like the different buildings hold different kids of different ages. So me and Tamar were separated at that place for some time, and we were allowed to get visitation with each other, but we couldn't leave there. We went to school there, we ate there, bathed there, and sleep there. And sometimes we get visits. I think we got a visit one time.
Kind of sounds like a jail. Is that fair, or is it not like that at all?
Yes, it was. It's like a jail.
Um, how long were you there?
Um, as a kid, I didn't understand time, so it felt like a year, but it might have been like 6 months or something like that, close to a year.
You're not really sure, but
No, I'm not
that's what
sure.
it felt like, I guess.
Yeah, it felt like a year.
That's sad, man.
What happened to get you out of the orphanage?
Um, they placed us in a foster home. They found a foster home for us
Where was that?
in Las Vegas, Nevada, in a neighborhood, low income neighborhood.
And you and Tamor were placed together in the same home?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like living in the foster home?
Um, we weren't happy, so it was sad. We just wanted to go home.
Did you have any contact with your parents?
No,
Did you know what had happened to your parents?
no, it was times we didn't even know if our mom was still living.
How long were you living with that foster? Was it a family or was it a single person? Do you know?
It was I believe she was married and eventually her husband passed away, but it was a married woman.
And what was daily life like with her?
Um, if it was during the year, then we go to school and we come back after school. If no extracurricular activities, and if it wasn't during the year, then we have to be in her home at all times, not allowed to ever leave.
You couldn't leave her property?
No,
Tamor too, or just you?
neither one of us, same or either.
What happened if you tried to argue with her about that?
She didn't allow it, and we were young, so we never, we didn't, we just did.
Do you feel like you were provided for there?
Um, Provided for because we ate every day and had a place to stay. So yeah,
It's
What
tough.
about your emotional needs?
no, not at all.
How long were you with
Dang.
this woman and her husband before he died?
Um, I believe that we were with her for up to 2 years at the most at one point, and then we got transferred somewhere else and sent back to her again. So over the years, we were with her 2 times at the length of time that we were in foster care.
So you were transferred from her care to another foster home or transferred back to the orphanage, or how'd that happen?
We were transferred to our grandfather family.
Okay, tell me about your grandfather.
He's a retired veteran. I don't know his age, but he took good care of us, and he's a good man.
What's his name?
Shout out to
Russell
Grandpa.
Hardy.
Grandparents are
Where does he
amazing.
live?
In Waco, Texas.
Okay, and that's where you all went to stay after you left Las Vegas?
Yes, sir.
And Tamor came with you, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about what life was like living in Waco.
We were allowed to be kids, and we were happy for the time span that we were out there. We were happier than we ever been as a kid in foster care or any of that stuff.
How did Tamor take it living with your grandfather?
He took it better. He started to get better grades and things like that. My grandpa was more involved in his school with his teachers and stuff like that. So eventually he did start to be better, do better and be happier, like a happier kid, more um extracurricular activities and just be a kid.
And about how long did this period of time last where you lived in Waco?
Um maybe a year or so.
What happened after that?
They took us from our grandfather's care and sent us back to Las Vegas to Child Haven.
When you say they, who was they?
CPS.
Child Protective Services?
Yes.
So you went back to Child Haven?
Yes.
Do you know why they sent you back to Child Haven from your grandpa's house?
They never really explained it to us as kids. They just said
Wow.
that we would be coming back, so that it was just temporary.
Did you come back?
No.
When you got to Child Haven, the second time, how long were you there for?
Just one day.
Okay, just one day. What happened after that?
They sent us to the same foster home that we lived in before.
The woman that you mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. What was it like when you went back to live with her?
It was the same, but I feel like this time we were older.
You
and
got
we knew what
bounced
was
around.
wrong.
Dang.
Like
What
we
was
learned,
wrong?
like how she would treat us.
Help me understand that more when you say how she would treat you.
Um, maybe well, like physically abuse us and mentally abuse us and accuse us of things we didn't do and couldn't have done,
Yeah.
or so like 24-hour surveillance for us. Like it doesn't matter. We couldn't watch TV, have a phone, or nothing like that.
So are you saying that she hit you all?
She did.
Did she hit Tamor?
She did.
When you talk about mentally abusing you, can you, I mean, you talked about not
That's
being able to
sad,
leave. Is
man.
that what you mean, or do you mean something else?
I mean, just overall, because we were young and we were kids, so it was like a weird feeling with her because we wanted her to love us, but she was always disappointed in us, and we would get accused for things that we didn't even do. So it was just like I feel like that was like mental abuse because it was like we just wanted to earn her love, like be really respectful to her and not do anything wrong, but we would still end up in trouble.
What kind of things did she accuse you of doing, or accuse Tamor of doing?
Maybe, well, it was every kid in the house, but maybe like picking at carpet, like if normal wear and tear on the carpet, if it's older, like maybe we did it, we picked it out the ground, or maybe like we scratched a scratch on a wooden furniture that's older and wear and tear. It was things like that.
You made it sound like it wasn't just you and the woman who took you in. Were there other people living in that house?
It was another other kids, they were all siblings. So 3 other kids that were all siblings.
Okay, were they her children, or were they also adopted?
They were not her children, they were in foster care. She ended up adopting them.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I used that word adopted a little carelessly. Y'all weren't
Mhm.
adopted, I take it?
No.
Okay, but she had adopted other children from the foster system?
We met them the first time we lived with her. The second time that we came back, she had adopted them and changed their names and everything like that.
I
Wow.
see. Okay. So how long did this last where
That's
you were back
interesting.
with the lady in Las Vegas?
Um, not I don't want to say it was a year.
Okay.
I don't want to say it was a year.
During that time period, did you have
You
contact
don't have
with
to say
any
it
of your
was a year.
biological family?
This time we were allowed to occasionally talk to maybe our grandfather or our uncle visited us before one time. And so yeah, this time we were able to talk to family sometimes. Yeah,
Were you able to talk to your mom and dad?
not my mom, but my dad. Well, I don't even, not even my dad. Maybe if I received a letter, but I don't think so ever. Not
Okay.
in her care.
So you said that you were there
Mhm.
with this woman again for about a year? Is that
The second time I feel like it was less than a year.
less than a year? Okay. What happened after that?
We ended up telling the social worker about her treatment the last time we lived with her and how it was still going on this time, because this time they let us have different type of workers that come and talk to us or take us somewhere to a park or anything. So this time we got closer with our workers and we let them know like everything that had been going on. So they switched us foster homes.
Okay. So the second time around, there were some social workers to oversee what was going on?
Right.
Okay. And based upon what you told to the social worker, what happened?
They removed us from her home,
Where'd y'all go?
a different foster home.
Man,
Okay. Tell
can
me about
y'all
that foster
imagine?
It was better. We lived there until we were not in foster care anymore,
Where was that other foster home?
in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay. And do you all have any connection to Las Vegas, Nevada, besides that they took you to Child Haven and that's where you got put in the foster system?
No,
Okay. No relatives, no distant relatives?
no.
Dang.
So you said that you lived with the second foster family until you were taken out of the foster system. What happened there to get you out of the foster system?
Our dad got out of prison and we were released into his care
And where was your dad living when he was released from prison?
in Arlington, Texas.
Okay. So that's where y'all went?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about what it was like to go to be with your father at that time.
At first it was supposed to be happy, but
Yeah. They need stability. That's
there
a
was
great
a lot
point,
of
Nikki.
abuse and things going on.
Okay. Abuse towards you, abuse
Things
towards
going on.
Tamor.
Abuse towards both of us.
Tell us about it.
When they say, listen, if y'all are in the culture, when they say things going on, there's a lot of there. That means something. So it just wasn't one type of abuse. I don't know if she's going to get into it yet. I haven't heard this, but she says a lot of things going on. Can connect the dots. Dang.
At first it was supposed to be happy, but um, it was a lot of abuse and things going on.
Okay, abuse towards you, abuse towards Tamor.
Abuse towards both of us.
Tell us about it.
Um,
Just tell the truth, sis. Come on.
about what he would do.
Yes.
Um, well, what do you call it? Maybe like his punishments were too big for like the thing. Like if we got bad grades, then we would be punished. Like he would. It started off by maybe the whoopings got worse and worser, and then now it's not a belt. Now it's a 2x4. We get a certain
Jeez.
number of hits, and we get hit with it. And we have to lay there, and we can't get up. And it was times when Tamar was younger than me, so
That's all right.
Tamar was younger
Dang.
than me, and he would cry, and just maybe they would think he was overdramatic, so they would tie him down to an ironing board, strap him down, stuff like that.
Shit.
And you said that these were examples of over disciplining you both for things in the house.
Maybe bad grades, maybe like yeah, just bad grades and stuff like that. We weren't bad kids to be doing any like going and doing anything. We didn't have any business. We were too young, and we moved around a lot to know what's going on in our outside world. We were just learning, so it would be stuff like bad grades and stuff like.
Were there ever any signs that you were being hurt this way or things that other people would notice?
Yes,
Give me some examples.
bruises, busted lips, noses. It like people have witnessed before.
Did any of these things ever come to the attention of your teachers or other adults outside your house?
Tamar's teacher noticed.
Okay. What happened when she noticed?
Um, I wasn't there the exact moment. A certain teacher took a like maybe noticed Tamar and built a relationship with him. And one day he had some type of bruising or something on his face. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a black eye or what, but the teacher ended up asking him, and he ended up being honest with her, and the school intervened, and they called our dad and our stepmom. Our stepmom came to the school, and they ended up talking to us, saying that we can't have any contact with our dad, and they just released us to her the same day.
Okay. But she was living in the same house as your dad or no?
Yes.
Yes, she was?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened after that?
Um, After that, then we went home with her, and they told Tamar we got in trouble, and they told Tamar that he had to say that he was lying.
Okay. Your dad and your stepmother pressured him to say he was making it up?
Yes.
Okay. So did CPS ever get back involved as a result of that, to your
No.
knowledge? How long did all this go on, living with your dad?
Until I was about 16, 17. By the time I was like 16 years old, then me and
Too
Tamar
long.
started to think about we didn't want to live with him anymore, and we wanted our mom to live with our mom.
Who was your
And
mom at this time?
I don't know where she was. We just were upset that everybody took us away from her, and then we just thought that we knew that she wasn't perfect, but just to have like wake up one day and your kids be ripped from you, or your kid or us being ripped from our mom, I felt like that wasn't helping her or us. Well, we felt like that.
So what did y'all do?
We started to think about living with our mom or just living somewhere else around the time I was 16, and then by the time I turned 17, then we decided to leave.
So Tamor would have been how old around this time? 15, 16?
15.
Okay. You said you decided to leave.
Yes.
Did you leave?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
We went to Corpus Christi with our mom after some time. Initially, we first left and we stayed here and there, and then we left Arlington to go to Corpus Christi after maybe like a month.
And that's where your mother was living?
Yes.
How long did you stay with your mom?
I stayed not even one night. I came and I brought Tamar,
Dang.
and then I left.
Okay. So when you took Tamor down there, did you tell your dad you were taking him?
No.
All right. You were trying to get him out of the house?
I felt like if I did not take Tamar and leave, then my dad would keep hitting us and he would get in trouble eventually. Somebody would notice, there would be nothing we could do about it, or he would hurt Tamar, or law enforcement would have to get involved and they would have no choice.
And the last time that happened to your dad, what happened to you all?
We went to foster care.
So do you know how long Tamor was in Corpus Christi with his mom?
I want to say a month, maybe. I don't, or a month. It couldn't have been longer than 2 months.
Where did he go from there?
Back to Arlington. He stayed with a friend and their grandmother.
Okay. How long was he staying with them?
I'm not sure.
Did you ever get to meet the grandmother?
I don't think I never met her. I think I've been there, but she was elderly. I think I never met her.
Okay. How was Tamor behaving around that time?
I mean, he was all right. How he was behaving, he liked to make music and stuff like that. So he wasn't having behavioral problems.
Okay. Now, eventually, did something happen to that older lady that you mentioned that he was living with?
She passed away.
Okay. And what happened after that for Tamor?
Then he went with other friends, or like had to figure it out on his own after that. He bounced around a lot, didn't have a place to stay.
What was your opinion of the kind of company he was keeping after he left that older lady's house?
I knew that if the circumstances were different, he probably wouldn't be around the same people.
Okay, but as far as those people are concerned, I mean, you know that some of them were drug dealers, right?
Right.
Some of them were violent.
Sustained.
I mean, what sorts of things were the people he was hanging
I
around
had a
with
feeling they were
like?
going to object.
What were they doing?
Dang.
I didn't hang around them. I didn't like them. They didn't like me. So I didn't, I knew that I didn't like the way they treated him sometimes, or like whatever was going on.
How'd they
And,
treat him?
Just not, those aren't your friends. I could just boil down to, you can just tell some people aren't really your friends or want better for you.
Well, are you saying they took advantage of him, or are you saying that they were a bad influence, or how do you
I
mean?
feel like so, because he was only 15 years old, and it's a bunch of grown people who are just,
So were these people older than Tamor?
yes,
Was fair to say he was the youngest of that group of people?
yes,
And were these the types of people he was hanging around when
He was
got
16
arrested
when all this
in,
happens, too.
Fort Worth?
yes.
Now, as far as the case in Fort Worth is concerned, are you a witness to any of the facts of that case? I mean, were you there for the case?
I was in trial.
You watched the trial?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what they're accusing him of doing specifically was?
I know that he did not even have a weapon of any sorts, and he didn't harm anybody. And I know that he was 15 years old, and pretty much,
And you got to watch the trial unfold?
yes.
And I still don't think the state proved it, but I had a feeling the jury was going to come to that conclusion, in my opinion. Man,
Pass
this
away.
is sad.
Miss Beverly, I want to start off by saying I am sorry for the abuse that you had to witness, and I don't think that any child should have to witness that. But there are some things that I have to talk to you about. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So your brother, to your knowledge, he was born in Long Beach, California. Is that right?
He was born in Macomb, Mississippi.
In Mississippi. Did you guys ever live in California?
Yes.
Is that with your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And then is your mother from California?
Yes.
All right. Now, as far as how you guys ended up in Las Vegas, is that because you moved there with your mother?
Yes.
Okay, and as a result of that, you guys ended up in the foster system in Las Vegas, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know you stated
Sad.
that your brother's about 2 years younger than you, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And growing up, I mean, you guys were very close, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, I mean, I think you would describe it as you two were kind of the only thing that each other had growing up, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you love your brother, that's correct, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't want to see anything bad happen to him.
No, ma'am.
Now regarding
this is
your
tough, dude.
father, I guess you stated when you guys went back, or when you took Tamor down to Corpus Christi, you loved your dad, is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't want him to get in any trouble for the abuse that you guys were undergoing at his hands, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and, you guys have kind of reconciled with your dad since then, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in fact, he was here watching the trial last week, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, that's
Now
amazing.
regarding you, I guess when you were about 17 or 18, did you get your own apartment?
When I was 18 years old.
Okay, and that was located in Arlington, Texas, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I guess the address to that apartment, it was 2216 Plum Lane. Is that right?
Oh, they muted it too late. Did they mute it because she read
Sutter
the
Creek.
address?
Sutter Creek, okay. And regarding.
Yeah, they muted
I
it
guess
because
I'm
of her
gonna show
address.
you something that-
I'm glad they did that. So they muted the audio because she was reading out the address. Thank you, Tay.
Well, I guess, and when you were living at that apartment complex, that's when Tamor picked up his case in Fort Worth, is that correct?
No.
No. At some point, when Tamor picked up his case in Fort Worth, he was released from the juvenile detention center, correct?
Can you say that again?
Yeah, so when Tamor was arrested up in Tarrant County, do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, and he was in juvenile detention.
Yes.
Okay, and he got an ankle monitor, is that correct?
Yes.
And when he was released on ankle monitor, didn't he go to live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was at your apartment that you had?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I want to show you. Is that your brother, as depicted on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that photo taken at your apartment, or the Sutter apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, at the age of, I guess, 18, your brother, he went to go live with you and you were kind of taking care of him. Is that how you would describe it?
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, you've done your best to be there for him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And to provide for him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And, you allowed him to live with you, right?
Yes.
And I guess you described the environment that you provided for him at that time when he was on ankle monitor as stable, right?
I described it as that?
Would you describe it as stable?
No.
But you were doing your best to provide for him as best as an 18-year-old could,
Right.
right? Okay. And so
It's a
at
good
that time, when he was
clarification there.
living with you, I guess he decides to cut his ankle monitor, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so he's no longer living with you, cuts his ankle monitor, and he flees Arlington, Texas, right?
Yes,
or
ma'am.
no? Okay. And so I guess previously you would describe your brother's stature at that time as small, right? He was a smaller individual.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess at the time that you guys were living together, you previously stated that you guys were sharing an iPhone at that time, is that correct?
That we were sharing an iPhone.
Or did you ever share a cell phone with him?
I don't even think we had phones.
Oh, okay. Do you recall an interview that you gave to Say Cheese, the social media outlet?
Do I recall it? Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall in that interview you said that you and your brother shared a phone at the time that he was living with you?
No, I don't recall.
Okay, and I'm gonna show you some photos.
Say cheese out here, man. A lot of
What is
media
that
outlets
depicted on the
being
screen?
mentioned in some of these
Okay.
trials.
Okay.
It's
And
interesting.
what is that in your hand?
A phone.
Okay, and was that taken at your apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about there? Is that the same thing depicted?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now, regarding the Fort Worth case, you said that you watched the trial up there, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess you stated that your brother didn't have a weapon, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he didn't harm anyone, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but somebody died up there as a result of the actions of your brother and his co-defendants, isn't that fair to say?
As a result of my brother's co-defendants?
Your brother and the co-defendants?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I guess you've previously spoken out because your brother's co-defendants up in Fort Worth, involved two female co-defendants, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and one of them, her name was Megan, is that correct?
I guess so. I'm not sure.
You're not sure? That's fine. But you know that there were two females involved, correct?
Um, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess you previously spoken out because you don't agree with the way that the court systems have handled your brother, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
You don't agree with that?
I don't.
Now regarding the Fort Worth case, I mean, based on the evidence that you saw, isn't it true that your brother, enlisted these two females and there was an agreement for the females to enter into a drug house, unlock the door, and then allow your brother and the other co-defendants to go in there, is that correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
Yeah.
Testified she witnessed the trial.
That doesn't mean
All
that she
right,
agrees with
could
your
you all
recitation.
approach?
Major speculation. Lord have mercy. What are we approaching for, Judge? That board. Dang, man. Hearing that story, you hear that story so often, man. Very sad. I agree,
proceed.
Fatima.
Thanks, Judge. So up in Fort Worth, your brother was acting with multiple co-defendants, is that correct?
Can you repeat that?
In the Fort Worth case, your brother had multiple co-defendants, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the evidence in that case was that your brother and his co-defendants, the two females, entered into a drug house. They texted your brother and the other co-defendants that were not yet in the house and told them to come in, and females unlocked the door. And at that time, your brother and his other male co-defendants entered the house to commit a robbery. Is that fair to say?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And isn't it true that your brother in that case searched the house for drugs to take?
Wrong.
No,
He
What
didn't
is-
search a house.
he was in the home, isn't that correct?
He entered the home. Yeah.
Okay, and he admitted to the Tarrant County Police Department that he was searching for drugs during the robbery, isn't that correct?
Oh, I don't know.
Now, regarding the murder that we're here for today, you were not in San Antonio, Texas when that murder occurred, correct?
No, ma'am.
You were up in Arlington, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you weren't in the car, right?
No,
You have no personal knowledge as to the facts of the murder that we're here for today, right?
no.
Okay. Now, I guess earlier you kind of said something that your brother liked to make music. I guess you would describe him as like a talented musician, is that correct?
He's artistic in a lot of different ways. Drawing, music.
Regarding music.
Yes, music too.
And I guess, are you familiar with the song that he wrote called The Race?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that song was released after the murder that we're here for today, correct?
Objection to 403, Your Honor.
All right, that objection will be overruled.
You can answer the question.
What's the
don't remember the
403
question.
objection, though, here?
The song The Race, it was released once your brother was apprehended in New Jersey, correct?
Guess
It
it's
was
not
released after
relevant.
He was apprehended in New Jersey.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the song was released after the murder that occurred in San Antonio, Texas happened. Is that right?
If he was in New Jersey, then yes, ma'am.
And I guess regarding that song specifically, I mean, the lyrics of the song is that your brother was evading police. Isn't that correct?
Is that the lyrics of the song?
Yes.
I'm not
She-
sure.
Yeah, she
You
don't
never
know.
heard the song before?
I have, but I mean, I can't tell you what a person meant
Okay.
unless it was me.
Well, I want to know what is your take on the lyrics? So
Objection, speculation.
All right, that objection will be sustained.
Motion to instruct the jury to disregard.
Ladies, a question has not been asked for them to disregard.
Understood, Your Honor.
And I guess at the time when your brother was in New Jersey, you're aware that he was posing in front of his wanted poster and taking pictures in front of his wanted poster, right?
I don't even think it was a poster, so I'm not sure about
Speculation as
that.
well, Your Honor.
All right, that will be overruled.
And
Hmm.
I guess while your brother was on the run, isn't it true that SWAT went to your place looking for him multiple times?
Yes, they did.
Have you met with the defense team in preparation for your testimony today?
No, ma'am.
You've never talked with them on the phone?
About my testimony, no, ma'am.
Now,
Or sorry, I have, but I thought you were saying like about my testimony or anything like that. I've answered questions,
okay, so you guys have met.
talked on the phone.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. And I guess.
She's doing a
regarding
good
your
job.
Brother, I mean, you've seen photos of him. Do you have knowledge of his affiliation with the Crips gang?
No, ma'am.
But you've seen photos of him throwing gang signs, is that correct?
Have I seen photos of him throwing gang signs?
Yeah, or videos?
Um, we were foster kids. I don't really know a lot of gang signs myself, so I couldn't tell you.
It's a
what
good
it is,
answer.
sir.
So if there's been testimony that multiple of
She
his
don't know.
family members are gang members,
They didn't raise us.
okay. So your testimony is you're just not familiar with gang signs.
I'm not.
I want to call your attention to the interview that you gave to Say Cheese. Isn't it true in that video that you said your brother be hitting them things regarding the gang signs?
I said he be hitting them things.
Yeah.
I don't even recall my Say Cheese interview because I just answered questions, but I don't recall saying that. I'm
Okay.
saying that I didn't.
Hmm.
And regarding that interview, I mean, were you paid for that interview or was it free?
No, ma'am.
Oh, you were not paid for that?
No.
So I want to talk to you about some of the people that you said your brother was hanging out with back in the Tarrant County case. Is one of those people Jalen Bell?
Can you ask that again?
Yeah, so earlier when Mr. Hunter was asking you questions, you kind of talked about some of the people that Timur was hanging out with that were a bad influence on him. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One of the people that he was hanging out with at that time was one of the people Jalen Bell.
Not sure, but
But you're aware that Jalen Bell and your brother were pretty close friends, correct?
yes, ma'am.
And you have personally, I mean, you've communicated with Jalen Bell before, correct?
Have I ever communicated with him before?
Through him or his girlfriend, Dara Sanders?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And sometimes they ask you for money, is that correct?
No, ma'am. I haven't talked to them in over 10 years.
So if there's a jail call saying that they've talked to you and asked you for money from your brother, that's just not accurate,
You said it's a jail call of them asking me for money or saying that they did.
saying that they did.
Well, they didn't.
Oh.
So I can't know what they said.
Now, regarding Jalen Bell, I mean, you're aware that he pled to ag robbery for his role in the aggravated robbery of Mark Saldivar, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And your social media profile or on Instagram, your social media name is @RealSpecialK, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And isn't it true that on your bio, you still have free pimp use?
I'm not sure. I've been having the same Instagram for over 15 years.
So was the sister thugging too? That's the question. This was before he was sentenced Taco Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a photo of your Instagram profile?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and just regarding the bio, can you read for me what it says here and here?
Free TK, free pimp, long live 2 Live.
I'm tendering to defense for inspection, but I'm offering State's Exhibit P5.
Objection, improper impeachment. I mean, it
All right,
wasn't,
if I could see the exhibit P5.
She said she lied.
Parties want to approach?
Right. Obviously, we can't hear the conversation. Let's see what they say. I wish he would help us out and say why it's improper impeachment or why he believes that.
State your
I like
proceed.
speaking objections.
So regarding your social media profile, I mean, on your bio, you have free TK and free pimp, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so you have no real interest in the family of Mark Saldivar getting justice for his death. in your
objection,
brother's
Your Honor,
murder.
argumentative.
Sustained.
Motion. to
I've been
instruct
having the
jury
same
to
Excuse
disregard.
me.
Oh, sorry.
So when either party makes an objection, just stop speaking and I'll make a ruling on it. If you don't understand my ruling and whether or not you're supposed to continue to speak or not, just ask me.
Okay.
All right, the objection is sustained.
Motion to disregard.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're to disregard the last question.
Motion for mistrial.
Denied.
Motion for mistrial. There it
State, you may
goes.
proceed.
I missed the motion for mistrial.
At this time, we pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Fair to say you love your brother?
Yes, sir.
No one's suggesting that you're not hoping for something positive to happen to your brother, right?
Right.
Pass the witness.
No further questions.
Is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Excused from the state?
Yes, Judge.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone during the pendency of the trial. All right, thank you. You may step down.
All right, what do y'all think of the sister's testimony? I don't even want to give her a round of applause. This is sad, man. Dang. Having to sit up there and talk about their upbringing. Seems like the prosecution was trying to point to some of the ways that maybe she didn't do a great job overseeing his activities. I don't know, it's tough, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat.